So, hello students, I am Shatabdi and I am back again with another video. So, in this video we will be starting a new chapter and the next chapter in your syllabus is chemical bonding. So, before going to chemical bonding, we will understand what is a bond. Like, what is a bond? So, bond in layman language, in our day to day terms, we use bond very widely. And what is a bond exactly? Bond is basically a force of attraction between any two entities. It can be in between people, between things and even between atoms. So, if the chemical or if the bond is between two atoms, we call it chemical bond. Now, again, where did the concept of chemical bonding start? So, initially when we started off with atoms, we knew about electrons, protons, atomic model as we discussed in our previous modules. So, after that there was a concept or later there was a discovery of a compound called as Buckminster fullerene. So, originally carbon existed as a in a monoatomic state and carbon existed in two different forms, one is in the form of graphite and one in the form of diamond. But a 60 molecular association of carbon was found in the name Buckminster fullerene, where 60 carbon atoms were arranged in a 3-dimensional structure to give us this compound. So, then question arose, if there are 60 carbon atoms together, there might be something holding them together to form a stable structure, otherwise how will 60 carbon atoms be present at a time in a single compound, right? So, that question led us to the concept of chemical bonding. Now, currently we are well advanced with this chemical bonding and we have different types of chemical bonds like ionic bond, covalent bond, coordinate bond, hydrogen bond, metallic bond, van der Waals force, so on and so forth. But primarily as per your syllabus, we will be discussing on ionic bond, covalent bond and coordinate bond. So, to start off with, we will start ionic bond. So, what is an ion? What is an ion? We have heard about atoms, right? Now, what an ion is? See, when an atom, as per Bohr-Bury scheme, what we learnt in Bohr-Bury scheme is an atom always requires a stable octet configuration, right? Like in the outermost shell of the atom, it must contain 8 electrons in order to be stable. Now, an atom, obviously an atom can have 8 electrons mostly, and in case of hydrogen and helium, it must have 2 electrons in the outermost shell, which we called the stable duplet configuration, and this is known as the stable octet configuration, right. So, an atom has to have 8 electrons in its outermost shell in order to be stable. Now, how can an atom have 8 electrons? It can either gain electron or lose electron, right. If I am in deficiency of money, right, if I require money, I am lacking money, and if my friend, suppose for example, is having a lot of money. So, what I can do? I can ask my friend to give me some money, to borrow some money from my friend, right. So, if an atom is in deficiency or in need of some electrons, the atom can go on hunting from its neighboring atoms and can ask for electrons. So, in that case what happens? One atom loses some amount of electrons, another atom gains that electron, and why do both the atoms do so? In order to attain a stable octet configuration, right. For example, if I am considering sodium, atomic number 11, atomic configuration, electronic configuration 281. Now, sodium here is having two possibilities. What? Number 1, it can either lose one electron or it can gain 7 electrons. Okay. At the end, the motto of sodium is either it will lose this one electron, it will remove this orbit, and 8 will become the outermost shell of sodium or outermost orbit of sodium, and sodium will be called as stable. It can do that, or it can go on hunting with its from its neighboring atom. It can go and ask, begging for electrons from its friends. Now, which one will be easier for sodium, giving up one electron or going on hunting and collecting 7 electrons from its neighbors? Obviously, losing one electron, right. So, what sodium will do? Okay, it is fine, I cannot collect 7 electron, let me just donate my 1 electron, any which ways I am gaining my stable electronic configuration, right. So, in that case, sodium chooses to lose this 1 electron. Now, we also have learnt an atom is considered neutral. An atom is considered neutral. Why? Because it has equal number of electrons and protons, right. Equal amount of positive and negative charge. They cancel out each other and the atom is considered to be electrically neutral. But when an atom loses one electron, is the ratio the same? Are the electrons and protons in equal number? No, obviously, because in case of sodium here, sodium was having 11 protons and 11 electrons. After losing one electron, it became, or it came up to 10 electrons, but the number of protons remained the same. So, will not sodium here have a net positive charge over itself after losing one electron? Obviously, because 10 protons and 10 electrons, they will neutralize each other and sodium will be left with one extra proton that will contribute to 1 unit positive charge over sodium. So, sodium becomes Na plus. So, initially the sodium that was neutral, it lost one electron to become Na plus, a charged species, right. Now, if I see chlorine for example, if I see chlorine, its atomic number is 17, electronic configuration 2, 8, 7, right. Now, chlorine requires one extra electron to attain its stable electronic configuration. Again, like sodium, chlorine is also having two possibilities here. It can either gain one electron or 7 electrons it can lose to attain the stable octet configuration. Now, what will be a more energy expenditure process for chlorine? Obviously, gaining one electron is not that difficult a task, right. It can arrange one electron from any atom in its vicinity. So, obviously, chlorine will rather than losing 7 electrons, it will take up to gaining 1 electron and converting itself to its octet configuration. Okay. So, what will happen? Chlorine that time was having, initially was having 7 electrons and 17 protons, right, 17 electrons as well as 17 protons. Now, what chlorine did? Chlorine gained an extra electron and that counted up to 18 electrons and 17 protons. Now, 17 protons and 17 electrons will neutralize itself, but chlorine here is having one extra electron that will contribute to 1 unit negative charge on chlorine atom. Therefore, Chlorine, which was initially neutral, became a negative charge species. So, what happened in case of sodium? Sodium lost one electron to become Na plus, chlorine gained one electron to become Cl minus. Now, here neutral species were getting converted to charged species. These neutral species were called as atoms. These charged species came to be called as ions. Okay. Why do then atoms convert into ions? Obviously, to achieve stable octet configuration, right, as we can see over here. So, basically ions are charged species formed when an atom gains or loses electrons. Now, we have our ions ready before us. What will happen next? Let us see. So, sodium after losing one electron became Na plus, chlorine after gaining one electron became Cl minus. Now, we know there is attraction between opposite charges, positive and negative charge. There will be a force of attraction. So, sodium and chlorine after losing and gaining their respective number of electrons, they will attain a charge configuration or a charge species they will become, and there will be a force of attraction between these two charge species. The force of attraction between a positive and negative charge is called as electrostatic force of attraction. Electrostatic force of attraction. So, when sodium loses one electron and chlorine gains one electron, they, after losing and gaining their respective number of electrons, they will be bound to each other with a force of attraction or an electrostatic force of attraction, and that force of attraction comes to be known as a bond, right. Bond is basically a force of attraction, and here the force of attraction is existing between what? Two ions. Therefore, it is called as ionic bond. Ionic bond. The force of attraction between two oppositely charged ions is called ionic bond. So, now we will see what is an ionic bond and what are the properties of a compound formed by ionic bonding. Yeah. So, ions are atoms or molecules bearing an electrical charge. A cation is a positive ion. Yeah, the positive ion like sodium after losing one electron becomes Na plus, that is a positive ion. A positive ion is called as a cation. Forms when a neutral atom loses one or more electrons from its valence shell. Yeah, another important point to note here is whatever electron transaction happens always happens from the valence shell, because the valence shell is the outermost shell. The other shells, in the shells after the valence shells, are called as penultimate cells, anti-penultimate shells. So, there is no chemical reactions in the penultimate as well as anti-penultimate shell. All the reactions, whatever reactions are happening, all the electronic transactions occur in the valence shell only. So, when a neutral atom loses one or more electrons from its valence shell, and an anion or a negative ion is formed when a neutral atom gains one or more electrons in its valence shell. Compounds composed of ions are called as ionic compounds. They are otherwise called as salt forming compounds or salts. Okay. And their constituent ions are held together by ionic bond. Ionic bond, what is an ionic bond? It is a force of attraction existing between ions. This is an electrostatic force of attraction. Electrostatic force of attraction between oppositely charged cations and anions. Now, after the ions are present, ionic bond is formed. How they will exist? See, obviously what we saw is sodium forms a positive charge, chlorine forms a negative charge, but and we get a formula called as NaCl or sodium chloride, which is known as stable salt. But this is only the chemical formula of the compound, and it does not give any information about the structure or the actual structure of sodium chloride. It is just the formula of the compound. Like, to neutralize one chlorine atom, we require one sodium atom in its vicinity. This is the chemical formula. But what happens to the actual structure? Actually, they exist in a three-dimensional structure called as the crystal lattice. What is the lattice? Lattice means a three-dimensional arrangement of atoms. Three-dimensional arrangement of atoms or ions. Here we have ions, so three-dimensional arrangement of ions. Actually, what happens? A positive charge is there. A positive charge can equally attract negative charge from all directions. Similar is the case of a negative charge. Therefore, we are only taking the simplest ratio, which is 1:1 in case of NaCl. So, because we have 1 unit positive charge and 1 unit negative charge, in order to neutralize or balance 1 unit positive charge, we require 1 unit negative charge. Therefore, we get a chemical formula NaCl. But this formula gives no information about the structure of sodium chloride. Ionic solid exist a crystalline structure and tend to be rigid and brittle. They are very hard and they can be broken down. They also tend to have high melting and boiling points. Ionic compounds have very high melting and boiling point because of the force of attraction between the ions, stronger force of attraction between ions, and therefore ionic bonds are also very strong. Now, ionic solids are poor conductor of electricity for the same reason. Why? To conduct electricity, as you must have learnt in physics, in order to conduct electricity there must be movement of ions, right? But here the ionic movement is restricted because of the strong force of attraction between Na plus and Cl minus. Therefore, these ions are not free here, okay? They are not allowed any kind of movement in the crystal lattice. Therefore, in the solid form, ionic compounds do not conduct electricity, or they are a bad conductor of electricity. But you must have known salt water is a good conductor of electricity, but salts are basically ionic compounds. So, what happens to salt water? How does it become a good conductor of electricity? Basically, when we dissolve it in a solvent, what happens? The force, if I compare water, if I am dissolving salt in water, the water has a scissor like property, a property like that of a scissor, and that property is called as dielectric constant. Because of high value of dielectric constant of water, what happens? It basically breaks the force of attraction between Na plus and Cl minus, and the distance between them is increased. Therefore, the electrostatic force of attraction that was initially holding these ions together is now broken down, or they are taken to a larger distance. Therefore, that force of attraction diminishes gradually as the distance between ions increases. Therefore, when I am adding solvent to NaCl, what happens? Ions get separated and they become now good conductor of electricity. Okay. So, ionic solids are poor conductor of electricity. The strength of ionic bonds prevent ions from moving freely in the solid state. Most ionic solids, however, dissolve readily in water. Why they dissolve readily in water? Water exists as H plus and OH minus, right? Hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. So, when water ionizes, it basically what it does, it separates these ions. Na plus ions are surrounded by OH minus ions in its vicinity, and Cl minus is surrounded by H plus ions. So, what happens? Water forms a barrier between Na plus and Cl minus, hence the ions are separated, and separation of ion is known as solubility of that compound in water. Okay. Next we will move. Once dissolved or melted, ionic compounds are excellent conductors of electricity and heat because ions become free. Okay, ions move freely. Now, neutral atoms and their associated ions have very different physical and chemical properties. Now, what does these means? Suppose sodium chloride NaCl, it is formed by Na plus and Cl minus. Na plus must have been derived from sodium and Cl minus must have been derived from chlorine. Now, the properties of sodium and chlorine are very much different from sodium chloride in itself, because sodium atoms forms sodium metal, a soft silvery white metal that burns vigorously in air and reacts explosively with water. If you drop a sodium metal, a piece of sodium metal in water, it will burn explosively, and so therefore, please do not try it in your labs. Chlorine atoms form chlorine gas, Cl2, a yellow green gas that is very poisonous. It is extremely corrosive to most metals and very poisonous to animals and plants. The vigorous reaction between elements sodium and chlorine forms a white crystalline compound called sodium chloride. It is our common table salt which we are taking up in our food normally. So, it becomes a very less reactive or less harmful metal like salt, which is sodium chloride. Therefore, reaction between elements sodium and chlorine forms white crystalline compound sodium chloride, common table salt, which contains sodium ions and chloride ions. The compound composed of these ions exhibit properties entirely different from the properties of the elements sodium and chlorine. This we have discussed. The combining elements have very different properties from the formed salt or the resulting salt. Now, chlorine is poisonous, but sodium chloride is essential to life. Sodium atoms react vigorously with water, but sodium chloride simply dissolves with water. Okay. The formula of an ionic compound represents the simplest, as I have said earlier, represents the simplest ratio of the number of ions necessary to give identical number of positive and negative charges. Basically, in a chemical compound or in an ionic compound, what happens, there is equal number of positive and negative ions just to show the neutrality of atom, but that does not give any information about the actual structure of the atom, right. So, this was all about our ionic bonds. Now, let us see how an ionic compound is formed. If I am taking for example, first let us see sodium chloride. What happened? Sodium's outermost electronic configuration was 2, 8, 1, right. Now, chlorine's configuration was 2, 8, 7. Sodium was in need of donating 1 electron, chlorine was in need of gaining 1 electron in order to attain their stable octet configuration, right. So, sodium atom, what happens? It loses 1 electron, 2, 8 configuration, it forms Na plus, and chlorine atom, what happens? It was having 2, 8, 7 configuration, it gained this electron lost by sodium, its configuration becomes 2, 8, 8, it forms chloride ion. Now, what happens? This Na plus and Cl minus, they present in a closer vicinity. There is a force of attraction between these two ions and they result in NaCl. So, basically how we represent it, sodium initially was having 1 electron in its outermost shell and I am representing that 1 electron as a dot. Chlorine was having 7 electrons in its elemental state. So, I am representing it as dots again. So, they were in pairs, right. We were having 3 pairs and 1 unpaired electron. Now, what happened? Okay, first of all, this dot like structure of like valence shell electrons around the atom, this structure is called as Lewis dot structure. So, again what happens? Chlorine lost this electron to, sodium lost this electron to chlorine, it became Na plus and Cl minus, it was having 3 pairs of its own and it gained one pair from sodium, and with one pair of its own it formed Cl minus. These Na plus and Cl minus form a a bond between them, and that bond is the electrostatic force of attraction is known as the ionic bond. Now see, how many pair of electrons are involved here for bonding? Chlorine gained one electron, so basically it forms one single bond with Na. Now it has 3 other pairs that were not at all involved in bonding, right. These were only the spectator ions, spectator electrons, that is they themselves did not take part in bonding with sodium. Therefore, these 3 pairs are called as lone pairs. Lone pairs are not that prominent in case of ionic compounds. We will deal with it better when we deal with covalent compounds. Now, this is basically a Lewis dot structure of a ionic compound. We will see one more example before winding up. Suppose I am saying MgCl2. Magnesium is having atomic number 12 and chlorine again is 17. So, its configuration is 2, 8, 2, its configuration is 2, 8, 7. Magnesium here needs to lose 2 electrons to achieve stable octet configuration. So, magnesium will lose 2 electrons to become Mg plus 2. Why? Because here it will lose 2 electrons. Sodium was losing 1 electron and it was gaining 1 unit positive charge. Magnesium is losing 2 electrons, it will get 2 units of positive charge. Now, chlorine remains the same, it will gain 1 electron to become 2, 8, 8 Cl minus. Now, magnesium is again having 1 electron extra. Now, what it will do? It will bond with another chlorine atom, or it will donate its electron to another chlorine atom to give 288 chloride ions again. Now, what you found? Mg magnesium was having plus 2 charge, it is bonded to one chlorine atom on one side and another chlorine atom on another side. This is basically the formation of magnesium chloride. Okay, I guess by now you might be sure about the Lewis dot structure. This was all about our ionic bond. In the next module, we will be dealing with covalent bond. Till that time, thank you.